It's a summer's day, just an ordinary day for play and games and fun. And everyone enjoys themselves in their own particular way. Niels and Bengt are just at that age when one has a chum, a best friend that you never want to be parted from. Niels and Bengt have been friends for ages, and they always do everything together. It's more fun that way, like letting off a bomb. Fun for them, of course, but not everyone shares the same idea. It's difficult to keep up a good speed. You have to be good to do this sort of thing, if you want to do it at all. Look out! It happens every day that someone needs our help. An accident, say a traffic accident. What do? What's the first thing that you must do? That's right. Never move a person who's been hurt in an accident. You can do them further damage. Get an ambulance and cut off the traffic from the area. Those are the first things to see to. The most important thing is to get the patient to a doctor as soon as possible. But if you absolutely must move an injured person, and there's no way out of it, then do it with the greatest possible care. There are certain ways of doing this that can cause the least possible harm to the patient, and it's also the easiest way of doing it. Who doesn't want to be able to do something in a situation like this? To say, right, now this is the way to do it. To be able to say that, you've got to know in the first case. And to know properly, you must have trained and trained and trained. poor Niels doesn't think much of things these days. It's not much fun when your best friend's in hospital and you're all alone. When you think of it, an accident can happen any time. Just like that. It could have been much worse. Just supposing that thought makes Niels sit up and think. He's beginning to realize just what could have happened. He's wondering, what can I do if something happens? It's happened once, and it could happen again. You ought to know what to do. And that's why the Junior Red Cross got a new member. But Bengt is now getting better, and Niels keeps him up to date with what he's doing in the Junior Red Cross. He almost feels that he's a member as well. He hears all about the time they went out, and about the exciting competitions the boys and the girls take part in. You see, the Junior Red Cross doesn't spend all of its time telling its members about first aid. There are lots of other things as well. You can bet your life the hobby evenings are interesting. We do everything. Sometimes something really useful, well, sometimes something just for fun. And do you know, Bengt, we've even got our own band. And you know those children who are handicapped? Well, we do a lot for them in the Junior Red Cross. Like toys, fish, and the girls make small dolls for them. Of course, we older fellows make much better things. You'd certainly be surprised at what we do. I bet you never thought that baking cakes had anything to do with first aid, did you? But do you think you could have a party if you didn't have cakes? And we do everything ourselves. You just ought to see the marionette dolls, made of vegetables. The stage looks like a vegetable market when the beautiful Miss Orange gives her adored Mr. Horseradish a kiss. Even if Bengt can't be with Niels, it isn't too bad, because Niels tells him all the news. But there are others, like this child who's been in bed for a very long time. His mother can't be with him all the day, and it's not very nice to be alone hour after hour. That's the time when you really want a chum. And there's so many others just like him, who would love to have a friend more than anything else in the world. A friend. That means someone who's kind, who's thoughtful. Children helping children. And to help someone gives you pleasure too. Just think for yourself what fun it would be to get a Christmas present from someone in another country. It wouldn't matter how simple it was. It's just getting it that counts. And just think of all the hundreds of thousands of children all over the world who never get a Christmas present at all. Children who perhaps live a miserable life in a refugee camp, or in some primitive house, or even in a tent. If anyone does, they certainly need someone to think about them. Every member of the Junior Red Cross can have that moment of happiness when they put the finishing touches to a Christmas album or take a last look at a doll which is going to be packed in just an ordinary shoebox and sent to the other side of the world. And perhaps that very doll will be taken out of its packet by small hands in India. And it's come all the way from a country right in the north of the world, where the boys and the girls have the whitest of white skins because the sun only sheds its warmth on them for a few short months in the summer. Do you remember, Bengt, how we said it would be wonderful if we could ever go to a summer camp? Now we're here. But you wouldn't like getting up early in the morning. But I think it's really pretty good to wake up with the birds. And a little first aid training wouldn't be bad either. Then you'd be able to look after yourself if you fell and got hurt again. Have you got any idea how to tie a bandage? No, you haven't, have you? There are some English Junior Red Cross girls here too. So we're a bit international, you know. There are foreign boys and girls at most every camp. They're fun, but sometimes... You see what I mean? What's happened? No, it's not serious, really. They're just seeing that we've learned our first aid lessons properly. They've told us that she's broken an arm or a leg. It's all part of one of our competitions. But we've got to work just as though the girl had been really injured. We must put her leg in splints properly, and it's not half as easy as you think. We must do it in just the right way. Two of us work together. We get points for the way in which we do it. We can't afford to make mistakes because the points of the members of each group are added together and each group is competing against the other. You have to think of the team. Bengt, I know that you've never had sausages and potatoes out at a camp. Well, I hope you do sometime because it's wonderful. And it's pretty all right out here. You should just see a sailing boat starting out. We do pretty often, because the camp is right near the water. We swim a lot, and they give us life-saving courses. And I tell you what I like, and that is that everyone who can't swim gets lessons here, so that in the end, they can swim as well. And they'll know what to do if something happens. That's what I like about the Junior Red Cross. They teach you some pretty useful things. Bengt, do you remember that I wrote and told you about learning so much here? Well, there was an accident. A sailing boat. But we managed to help them all right. At long last, Bengt was well again, well enough to leave the hospital. Niels had certainly waited a long time to see him. Bengt knew that Niels was going to meet him. That was almost the first thing that Niels promised Bengt right after the accident. And now what a lot they'll have to do together, and what a lot to talk about. But there's one thing that's certain, and that is that Bengt is going to become a member of the Junior Red Cross and meet all of the friends that Niels has told him about. And that girl that Niels and Bengt saw in the street, you remember? She's one of the youth leaders in Niels's group. She joined the Junior Red Cross when she was just a little girl. But you're never too old to learn something new, and to have a good time. We want you to join us. We need you. Give us a hand. There are others in the world that want to be your friend. Don't forget them. Never forget to be a friend.